Hello and welcome to episode 105 of the First and Goal podcast. I am Ben Roberts, joined by Sim Longa and Sterling Carter. And gentlemen, it's been about a month since the last time we talked. And, while we have some recent basketball news to kind of dive into, just wanted to stop with start it, excuse me, with probably the most impactful news, at least from the top of the athletic department since the last time that we recorded. And that's recently news came out that athletic director Mike Levinsky is going to step down at the end of the year, effective December 31st. And a 10-year run, which kind of surprised me when I was reading that. It seemed like not too long ago when he started, but for a lot of slack that he took, he did a lot of good things as well, especially kind of with some of the Olympic sports. He's always kind of going to be stuck with the Walters hire too, but he did also make the Odom hire, which I think we all think is going to turn out to be good too. So, but just kind of guys, your initial reaction there, and now Purdue joins kind of a list of schools looking for ADs right now, and with this day and age kind of college sports and everything that's happening, this feels like a really important hire here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably even more important than when he got hired 10 years ago in terms of, like you said, like the magnitude of that position with your athletic director. Also, too, correct me if I'm wrong, he's also who hired Braun, isn't he?
Yes, because he started in 16.
16,
So
right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were rejoicing because, like you said, with because of the whole Walter situation. But like you said, he brought on Odom, so and obviously that's kind of still has yet to play out. But kind of based on what you see, I think what we've seen, this off season with between the portal and just some of the recruits, even the more recent recruiting news, that definitely seems to be trending in the right direction. But um, I I'd like to think that that he did leave Purdue in a better position than when he's gotten here. And yeah, I don't even begin to know like kind of like some list of candidates, but you're right. I think there's kind of like a growing thing. Like I think I just heard the other day that Michigan State, their AD, I think he went to like Kentucky or something like that. So there is kind of like some musical chairs that are going on with AD. So hopefully, whoever backfills him is able to at least keep us kind of at the same level across the sports as we've been kind of like right now, and then obviously being able to make some more impactful changes in the areas where it might need to be. So, but thanks, Mike, for for the last 10 years because even those highs and lows, but definitely enjoy those highs.
yeah, and I'm with you. Like, I'm not gonna like pretend to know like a exact list of candidates, but there are some things kind of that I think are important, qualifications. I would like to probably see somebody on the younger side. And also just someone, with experience kind of in this NIL world. It seems like kind of Purdue got off to a slow start in the NIL department. And I'm not going to pretend to know, but I'm assuming that kind of started from the top. And just kind of one of those things where it almost seemed like we, and just as a university, kind of thought this thing would pass and really wasn't as fully invested um, initially. And now, trying to do the right things and get caught up. But, though, that's my probably biggest thing that I'm looking for in a new hire is, what kind of experience do they have with NIL, and, what can they do to kind of take Purdue to the next level there?
Yeah, that's a good point. How quick like are they early adapters type stuff, and kind of are they able to see when trends are or what trends are working and whatnot, and being able to implement those? Because yeah, I think that was a really good call out about the NIL and kind of seeming like Purdue we got off like we started late and have kind of been on the back foot for a bit.
Yeah. And, you have time. So, there shouldn't be anybody that you overlook interview wise, you should be hitting the ground running, interviewing anybody and everybody. Because it's not like you really have to be in a rush. So this is really one too where I would think you would want to take your time and make sure you get someone that's a good fit for the university there. But we'll whenever that news breaks, I'm sure we'll have much more on it. But like you said, I'm not even going to pretend to throw or anything out there yet. But it feels like one that the university really has to get right.
Yeah, yeah, and I also think too. I also think that I think like I think that Purdue, like the Purdue brand name, is rather strong. Obviously, people will look at football and be like, "Well, you've been cheeks the last few years," but like I think overall, Purdue as an entity, that brand is strong. So in terms of, I think if they are trying to set their sights kind of high, if you're thinking about like maybe poaching from another university, I do feel like Purdue is not going to be like a name that comes across and you're just kind of like, yeah, okay, it's like, no, I'll just blow it off. I genuinely do feel like Purdue has the ability and the potential to get someone who can be really impactful from day one. I think that it's not going to have to be like, oh, you have to find some diamond in the rough. Now, if they do, that's great. But I do feel like they have the ability to go out and just like if there's somebody who they have their eyes like properly set on, and it's like, well, I don't know if we can get them. I think they might have more of a chance than maybe than you would think.
And I do find it kind of interesting that like the day or two that Sterling gets to West Lafayette, the AD announced that he's leaving. So
Crazy work,
Sterling, if you're secretly interviewing for the AD job, man, just let us know. Okay.
right?
Not my cup of tea, man. Too much.
Crazy work. I know that's what he say, yo. That's what he say. He's just throwing us he throwing us the smoke screen, and all of a sudden it comes out, and he's sitting there at the presser like,
I'm just
Nah,
saying.
he's gonna be
I'm
like,
just
yo,
saying, man. He gets to West Lafayette, and all of a sudden things change. But no,
right. All of a sudden he starts
Sterling,
talking
let's
hoops.
let's talk some hoops and let's talk about your cup of tea a little bit. Before we dive into kind of the first couple of weeks in practice, I did just want to touch on a little bit as the non-conference schedule was officially released. And much like the previous years, I think we've talked about one of the things that Coach Payne really hangs his hat on is a very challenging. I think we're all in agreement that we all like that. I think we would rather see these kind of quality teams on the non-con schedule than some cupcake teams. Because win or lose, I think you get a lot more out of it. But man, it's going to be tough, and it starts at the very beginning. Even the exhibition game, you're going to UConn and to take on Coach Hurley and that team. And then you start the regular season in Vegas against Gonzaga. Like you just hit the ground running. And a very challenging schedule. I'm not going to go through and read them all, but you go to Iowa State this year. I know that game's probably going to be circled for a lot of us, a kind of revenge game after what happened last year when they came to Mackey. But you know after that game, you turn around the very next week and get Tennessee at home. So you play those two teams within a span of 6 days, all while doing finals and all that school wise. So the start of December looks to be kind of a real challenging time. But kind of guys, just kind of your general thoughts, kind of when you look at the non-con schedule as a whole there.
No, go ahead, Sterling, go ahead.
I would just say it just shows testament to how our teams have grown each season. Like every season, I feel like Coach Painter does a great job of finding teams that are going to challenge us. Show our weaknesses early so we can fix them by the time it comes turning time and Big Ten conference play, Big Ten tournament, all that good stuff. Like having the what do you call it? Having the exhibition games that we have, like it starts with that. Like I know when I was here playing, we played like D2, D3 schools, schools that, didn't really challenge us. But to start off with Ball State, which is not a bad program, then we play Purdue Fort Wayne, then we go to the big dogs and play UConn. Like, it just, the schedule itself after UConn, we get put back in the ringer and we play for the regular first, official game. We play Gonzaga in a neutral site. So it's it's just a testament to how Coach Painter prepares his teams and while we have success later on in the year.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Like those sentiments. Like I look at Oakland, Lipscomb, Ohio, um, and I like even I think even like when you go to Fort Myers and you're playing DePaul in Oklahoma, I think that like just as Sterling said, I think even when you see some of these like kind of lower brand names of schools, there's always kind of I always feel like there's always something behind it. They're gonna do something that maybe you end up seeing later in March because all we all know like the Big Ten season is a gauntlet in itself, and it can you get battered and bruised there, and obviously you play some good teams, but in terms of style wise, just being exposed to different styles, which kind of show how how the guys are able to respond and kind of what you might need to work on to expose maybe some weaknesses, but also it can bring out some strengths in those situations too of learning, okay, well, this is what we can actually do pretty well against this if we do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I think the non-con once again just kind of serves as I feel like a kind of like a discovery period where you're going to learn about this team, and obviously, hopefully, we're able to do so under like while they're winning. I'm super excited too for people to overreact about the Connecticut game, much like the Kentucky game last year, where oddly enough, the NCAA decided to have the national championship game in October. So that'll be fun for people
I know.
to overreact about. But yeah, just kind of becoming the standard with our non-con. So it's only what 4 months away, so we'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
insane to think about. And Sterling, I think that's a good call out too for the exhibition game specifically too. Like to your point, there was a time where we would, bring in D3 schools and, really small schools, and now, starting with the Arkansas one, and then like you talked about Kentucky last year, and now UConn, like, and it just makes all this sense in the world because you literally have nothing to lose. And so why not go play against the very best and see, how you do? Because you can only get better and you can only learn from it. So, really like what Paint has done there, and hopefully that's a trend that we see for a while.
Right. I also think too it speaks to where Purdue's at because you have these bigger like the Connecticut's, the Arkansas, the Kentuckys who want to have their exhibition games against us because I'm sure they see value in that the way that we see value in playing them. So much to Sterling's point in terms of like who we were able to get, I think now it's like, well, who also wants to get us in the in the exhibition? Who wants to have Purdue on the schedule because they know that'll be a nice test, that'll be a good look for the resume. So yeah, fun times. We used to pray for times like
Well,
this.
let's let's get into practice here the first, a couple of weeks. I think Purdue fans are really kind of, for the first time in a few years, just really curious for the unknown because of how new this roster is. I think I saw a tweet from John Rothstein that the last time that Purdue didn't have, Braden, Fletch, and Trey out there was the upset loss against St. Peter's, I believe. So, it's been obviously a few years. And a lot of new names, a lot of familiar names as well. We've talked about the roster and kind of how it's a very interesting, kind of mix of guys who have been around but are going to, be asked to step into larger roles, and then a lot of newcomers as well. But Sterling, I mean, you've had boots on the ground, man, what's kind of been the one thing I won't ask you like about specific players unless you want to talk about them, but just like the team in general, kind of what's been the big thing that stood out? Um, what are we 5 practices in now?
One thing I can say is that we're gonna be really athletic. We're gonna have guys that can guard the ball really well. Um, I don't want to say too much or give away too much, but I don't think people should be as worried as they probably naturally are because we lost 4 good players. I think our staff does a really good job finding guys that fit the system, that fit what they're looking for, what Coach Painter is looking to do, and I think they found those guys with this recruiting class and the guys that they've brought in. Uh, I will say that it will be interesting. We potentially have another player coming, but can't really speak on that. But at the same time, like I said, it's going to be interesting, really interesting.
Okay.
That's good. I feel like you mentioned Ben. You mentioned earlier that the last time we played without what is it, Fletch, Braden, and TKR was at the St. Peter. It was the St. Peter's game, obviously. So before they were even like technically enrolled, um, but I feel like this is kind of like that off season before they showed up on campus, where it was like, yeah, you lose all this talent, and it's like, all right, well, what's Purdue going to look like this next year? And obviously, not saying that it's going to be like it was that year, where you just go out and you start belt ass and people. But I do feel like if you're a fan, while you can be kind of anxious of like, what's this team going to look like? I don't necessarily think it's going to be some like, oh man, like, are we even going to be like good? And I'm not saying good in the sense of like, are we going to be able to be number one in the country? But I just mean like, is it going to be a good product that you see out there? And I feel like you should have faith that it's going to be a competitive team. I think what we don't know, and then we're not going to ask Sterling to sit here and just divulge all the details. But I think what's just
Not
going to be
yet.
interesting to see, right? Not yet. Um, but I think what's just going to be interesting to see are the details of that. So like when the first time you get to see them play, and you might see, okay, well, who's good, who's good, in terms of creating their own shot, who like has Riley Bird just gotten better in terms like more physical? Is he better with rebounding, stuff like that? Just kind of and wanting to see the progress of where a lot of guys went. And you think about like CJ, Jakari, Omer, guys who now are going to have kind of like more opportunity and also more responsibility. Just kind of wanting to see, okay, how do they respond to that? And I think based off of that, um, then we can all really properly start to make our assertions about, okay, like this is what I think this Purdue team can do. But I don't think a couple of weeks of practice you can sit there and be like, oh well, here's what they're going to do in the Big Ten season. Um,
I would
but yeah,
say this. I would say if you're a fan of Purdue basketball, I would say you should have, like you said, like you should have faith that Coach Painter is not going to put a bullshit product on the floor. That's one. For two, what has he done the last 10 years? Like what? Like the man's track record is pristine. So for people to be questioning the way he recruits at this day and age, in this stage of his career, and how long he's been at Purdue, it's kind of crazy if you
Right.
ask me. Like, and I was probably the last team that was pretty bad. So, and I hate to say that because I love my teammates. I love the way, the opportunity that I got to play here. But if we're going off of what's on record and what's on paper, like my team was probably the worst in the last 15 years. However, everyone has a year where they have to reset, restart. And I feel like we've done that and we've been on a hot streak since. So I don't see why you know, the worry is
Yeah.
coming now. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I
just
think I think so.
trust this process.
I think it's interesting you brought up the athleticism, because just seeing, some of the videos that um, Purdue basketball has posted, that was one of the things that really stood out to me just in those video clips. And, it's always hard to kind of gauge when you get, a 1 minute video clip of highlight from um, practice there. But man, you see like lob dunk after lob dunk. You see just, and it's different guys too, like you see Luke lobbing it up to the big man. Just he was kind of, that was the thing that really jumped out to me. Just, I've been trying to see as many videos as I can. I think we're all kind of just craving any kind of content that we can get right now. And just seeing all of the plays at the rim, both offensively, defensively. That is one thing that did really stick out too, is just how athletic this team could be um, this year.
Yeah, we are going to be pretty athletic. I'll say that, like, pretty athletic. Defensively,
And
offensively,
I think,
we're going to
and I
be
think
pretty.
the one really interesting thing, that I think would be just really fun to watch in practices. You could probably go down and there's a legit battle at each one of the starting spots, I feel like. I think this team is, uniquely deep where, they could really have, I know everybody talks about it at the guard, is it going to be Arnold or Ulmer? But I mean, every spot, there's a legit battle right now. And, the old saying that iron sharpens iron. And, I would think that that really rings true here in kind of some of these practices early on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I saw that video of Luke Ertl. I think he was on like the right wing, just splashing three. It's just, and I was like, yes, more of this. It does seem like too. It does seem like
There's definitely a sleeper that no one's talking about, but I'm not going to say anything about him.
yeah,
I'm just going to let everyone have their assumptions
that's right.
and go on. But there's a guy that is, yeah.
All right. Yeah, no, I think yeah, I feel like with this team too, there's the potential for to be able to like proper like in like your depth of just the number of guys who can score and can really get hot and just kind of and be able to to give you 10 to 12. I really feel like just kind of from what I've seen of the clips, and then also, I mean, again, yeah, it's not, obviously it has to play out, but there just feels like there's a high upside for a lot of these guys in terms of what they can give you offensively. And just seeing how like when you see this Purdue team, and I think how it like when it's operating and it's clicking at its highest like capacity, I feel like it's going to be like some really fun basketball to watch. Like when you see like how it goes offensively, and it's like it's really clicking, and then like you're talking about in terms of the athleticism, and I think that's something defensively that if those guys really buy in, and there's joy on the defensive side of the ball, that there can be some stretches where they're really like, they're really cutting people's water off. And I just, yeah, I think there's some high upside for what this Purdue team I think can look like when this with the sum of its parts and when it's all kind of clicking and it's working right. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
My man just gonna drop little nuggets like that, huh? You're just gonna leave us hanging. But
It's gonna be a long, bro. It's gonna be a long summer because gonna be doing that. It's like you're like, yo, I saw this on Fox the other day, yo. So and so was lighting so and so up. It was crazy work. You like, yo, bro.
I'm
You're like,
not.
oh, I can't put it.
I'm not gonna put it out there like that.
no,
I get to see it every day, and I just, I read. I have Instagram. I have Twitter, so I see. But I just I just read and observe, and
It's
just let
crazy.
people have their opinions, and I get to watch actual work, so
Right.
it's gonna be interesting.
Sterling's out here. He's like, I'm just a guy. I'm just watching. That's
Yeah,
it.
I am.
Don't mind me.
I'm just here to help and gain knowledge and grow. That's it, man. Help my alma mater get to where they've been trying to be.
We
Naturally.
appreciate and we
Yeah.
appreciate that. We appreciate that, and we will continue to appreciate that. So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome for sure.
We'll have
Think
much
you'll be even
more.
great once the merch finds its way to your boy. But hey,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that offline.
I'm still waiting on my own, man. Don't worry, I got you covered.
Oh man.
As it says with the police.
Yeah, this is old, man.
That's what they all say.
It is. That's what they said.
Hey, you ain't gotta lie to us here. It's a safe space.
That's
You ain't
what
gotta lie
told
here.
said this is old stuff that they had to scrounge up.
Well, I'm sure you'll get some new stuff soon enough, and yeah, we'll talk then. Oh man, but yeah. When you
Yeah.
guys
We look forward to hearing more.
when's the was it it's going to Canada, correct?
Yeah, July.
Okay.
July, the end of July.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be fun. That'd be
That's
fun.
one thing that I feel like will get more interesting because you'll kind of start maybe to see some role defined a little more there, and that's when we're gonna need all of the little nuggets, Sterling. We're gonna need it
Right.
all by then.
Right. We'll need, just stream, just go live, yo. I also well, what also will be interesting for me with that is just obviously not like I don't know if there'll be any type of like broadcasting on it. I don't imagine there will be, but I feel like that correct me if I'm wrong, that'll be the first time that those guys are playing against somebody who's not like them, like they're not playing against their own teammates. And I feel like when you get that first opportunity, you've been playing against your teammates for X amount of weeks or months, and then you finally start playing some people who aren't them. I think you can see some different stuff. You can see how guys are able to react and respond, like to react and respond in real time. Because I think when you're practicing with people long enough, you're going to pick up their tendencies. So you're going to understand, okay, well, so and so likes to go to this side. I like to go, they like to get to this spot of the floor. You learn tendencies. So I think on both sides of the ball, you can get better, but it's not like you're playing somebody who you don't know, where now you have these core principles in terms of the way that we play defense, the way that we run our offense, but it's like, but you're not playing it against people who have also seen the same thing. You're playing it against people you don't know. So just kind of seeing how, especially some of like the younger guys, like the guys who like essentially like the freshmen, just seeing how they kind of respond in those live ball instances. That'll be something I know I'll be asking about. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll make a list of questions.
Okay.
That will about I did want to just touch him. I know you kind of highlighted or kind of touched on it a little bit when we were talking about Coach Odom, and we won't go too much into like football recruiting, but a lot of good stuff is happening over there. So I encourage, everybody to stay up on that. Friend of the pod, JT Boiler is a great follow. If you really want to stay kind of up to date on that stuff. But Coach Odom and the staff over there are really kind of working their tail off right now. And they are bringing in some really good talent. So would be remiss if we didn't just at least highlight that and the work that they're doing. But yeah, that'll do it on this one. Appreciate everybody's support. Sterling, always appreciate that, and left us with some things to ponder, and looking forward to some more kind of insight there. So appreciate you as always, and most importantly, boiler up.
Yes, sir.